What's up YouTube? Today we're taking a look at some of the best CEREBRO decks that you can build in Marvel Snap. CEREBRO is pretty unique for deck building because it makes you want to play a deck where all of the cards have the same amount of power. That ensures that the buff gets spread out across all of your cards and all of your locations. And let's assume CEREBRO is your very first Series 3 card that you unlocked. You want to make use of your new gift right away. What is one of the best builds that you can brew? I just have to warn you right away, I don't think this is super strong yet. You really want Mystique for this to pop off, but you can already try out something like this. This plays a lot of 2-power cards that you can spread across all 3 locations. Most of them are pretty cheap. We play Blue Marvel as well to buff all of these other cards up to 3 power, which makes sure they still all get the CEREBRO +2 buff. They all end up at either 4 or 5 power most of the time. Iron Man also helps out to double down and win a location quite handily. But as you unlock more cards in Series 3, there are some pretty cool decks that you can build. The strongest one of them probably being this upgraded CEREBRO 2 build. I got this one straight off of Marvel Snap Zone's meta tier list where it's ranked as a tier 3 deck. So not super strong or competitive, but can hold its ground all the way up to the infinite rank. Especially if you can catch your opponent with a lot of surprise value. For surprise value, we have a card like Invisible Woman where we can hide CEREBRO and Mystique and get a huge burst of power at the very end of the game. Brood is also a super key card here, especially if you pair it with Storm. We can flood a location and then still fill it up easily with Brood. That almost guarantees us to win the location because we will further buff all those 4 cards with Blue Marvel and CEREBRO and Mystique later on in the game. So the essential cards for this deck from Series 3 are really just CEREBRO and Mystique. Brood is nice to have, but you can replace it with Mr. Sinister, and Goose and Invisible Woman are both fairly replaceable with some other 2-power options that really get along with the rest of the deck. But if you want to take this concept further and get a bit more power into play, you can also play CEREBRO based around 3-power units. This one's also taken straight off of Marvel Snap Zone's meta tier list. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to play any of the 2 decks myself because I didn't unlock Brood yet. I also don't have Valkyrie yet for this one, but both of these archetypes have been tried and tested for a while. They have been around for a while, and both of them stood their ground so far. The CEREBRO 3 deck got some recent support with the additions of Valkyrie as a Series 5 card, as well as Absorbing Man as a Series 4 card. Both of those are great control tools, Valkyrie basically negating all of the big cards on our opponent's side of the board. Absorbing Man either copying that effect or Spider-Man's effect can be very spicy. It can also copy Mystique's effect though, after Mystique copied CEREBRO, tripling down on the CEREBRO +2 buff. Besides that, Killmonger and Cosmo can be some great disruption tools, Armor as well if we face destroy decks, and Sentinel is an efficient way to refill our hand and make sure we have enough buff targets for CEREBRO and Mystique. And any CEREBRO deck with higher power values than 2 or 3 leans a bit into meme territory. Nonetheless, I got you covered. Just to show you what these decks can look like, I found a pretty funny and pretty interesting CEREBRO 6 list. I found this one on marvelsnapzone.com and in my opinion is not very consistent and not the best deck for climbing, but some pretty spicy deck building went into this, so I want to highlight this idea nonetheless. We have a mixture of the destroy and the discard package. So the Hood spawns Demon, which grows to 6 power, Bucky Barnes spawns Winter Soldier, which is also 6 power. Carnage ideally gobbles both of them up to go to 6 power. And within the discard package we also have a lot of culprits around 6 power. We have Black Cat, which discards herself and is guaranteed to be pulled back by Angela later on. Ideally we also discard a card like Captain Marvel. Our discarders Swordmaster and Hellcow also just happen to have 6 power, and if we do manage to only discard 3 cards in total over the course of the game, Morbius also grows to 6 power. So lots of cute synergies here. I also saw some lists around CEREBRO 4, CEREBRO 5, even up to CEREBRO 8. But I'll be honest, none of them looked super strong or consistent, so I didn't think it was worth including all of them in a best decks type of video. But if you just want to have fun with CEREBRO and experiment around a little bit, I very much encourage you to do so. Also, if this video was helpful to you, if you want to see more, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, it helps me out a lot and it will keep you updated. And I hope to see you again another day.